And you were able then to come to the museum to interact with these objects and to interact with the game there. These are two science museum projects that have online and on-site components. Both of these are exhibits on the floor and online communities on the web so that you can find out about some content on the web, come to the museum, learn more about it through an exhibit. This one on the right, which is from the Ontario Science Centre, their tickets have barcodes, and so if you make stop-motion videos at the museum, they end up on the website and become the basis for a social experience. So they're not entirely for you, and they are shared, and they live on the web. The Ontario Science Centre also did a YouTube meetup this past year in August, where they invited YouTube enthusiasts from all over the world to come to the museum and make videos. There were hundreds of videos made, but it was really them connecting to the YouTube audience and saying, hey, here's a physical space you can use to make videos. This is a project this is a project that was a consortium of museums. It was a marketing project where they were trying to encourage people to think of themselves as visiting this region and potentially visiting lots of museums. So they let people self-define things that they liked. I like a challenge, I like acting like a kid, and then they would connect museums and create a map for you of a trail of museums you might like in this area because of that. So again, using the web to drive people to the museum and to help people understand, geez, I'm visiting this area, I'm visiting a place with 80 museums, which are the ones that I want to go to? Two more tips. Don't be a walled garden. I think Shelley and Mike are going to talk more about this, but a lot of times we think about the web as a destination. We say we're going to make everybody come to our place. Here's a great example of that, and it's a wonderful project. I'm not saying these can't be beautiful. It's at the SF MoMA. On their website, they have this thing called ArtScope, and it's really beautiful. It's based in Flash, and you can move around the circle and zoom in on different pieces from their artifact basis. But here's the problem. This is all in Flash, so all of these images only live in this world. You can't find them on Google. You can't find them in other places you might be looking on images. You must go to this website to do this. And if you compare that to something like if they put all these images on Flickr, which is a site where lots of people are coming to look at photographs and to talk about them, they would be spread much more across the cultural landscape. I don't think we can expect that people are going to come to our website and our website alone the way we expect them to come in the walls of our museum. We also have opportunities to take what's in the walls of our museum and take it out. You know, wouldn't it be nice if your artifacts didn't have to be stuck in a place that was only open a few hours a day? This was an interesting project using geocaching, where teenagers made these sculptures. You can see one in the bottom, and they released them from this museum and encouraged and had challenges associated with them of where those sculptures wanted to go. And so the sculptures, people could pick them up and take them somewhere else in the city. They would log where that was on a map so that somebody else could then take it. And it was a true public art project where the art was traveling through the public, and then it would end back at the museum instead of it living in one place and the public has to come to see it. The last thing I want to talk about is physical metaphors. As I mentioned before, I come from an exhibit design background, and I'm fundamentally not that interested in only doing this stuff on the web. What I'm really interested in is how we can make this stuff real in our institutions. And there are some wonderful ways to look at what's going on the web and say, okay, Facebook does this. How could we do that thing that's really great in a way that makes sense in our institution physically? And just a couple of examples. This is a project that came out of Denmark. It's been traveling around Europe for several years and now around the world. It's called Living Library. And what they do is they set up libraries, usually at festivals, but they don't have real books. The catalog is of people stereotypes. So, you know, gay man, cop, I don't know, somebody who lives on the street. And what you can do is you can look through the catalog and you can check out a book, which is a human being, and you can sit down with them and talk to them. And so this is why they talk about take out your prejudice, you know, meet the people and the stereotypes that you think about all the time. And they're using the metaphor of how a library works to create this very intense social experience with people who you otherwise might not talk with. When it comes to translating the web to real life, sometimes it can be very simple. LinkedIn is a big social network around professional stuff. The picture on the right is from my gym. I rock climb. You need a partner to rock climb, or else if you fall, nobody will catch you. And so most people come with a partner, but some people don't. And this is a whiteboard they have at my gym, and it says at the top, it's hard to see, it says, need a partner today, put your name and time of day on the board below. And so I can put up, I'm Nina, I have curly hair, and it's 6 o'clock, and somebody else can look at that and can find me and connect with me, and we can climb together. So I think there are ways in museums, for example, if you imagined giving out buttons at the front that said, talk to me about the collection, something that was a signifier, a social object that helped people know, hey, there's somebody I can connect with. You don't need to make a LinkedIn. You don't need a big social network to start playing with these things. And so the final thing I want to end with is just a real support to say, you know, think about the real stuff. And this is a picture inspired by a guy that Shelley and I were very lucky to get to meet yesterday. He's Dutch. His name is Jan David Hanrith. He's an architect who builds libraries. And he built a library, a branch library here in the Netherlands that has a smart shelf. So when you return the books, there are these different shelves for things like exciting, boring, I didn't read it, great for kids. And so the idea is that when you go back, you put the books on these shelves, and then it all goes into their database. And what I love about this project is that if we were in a library or a museum and we said, I know, I have a great idea, let's let our visitors tell us which parts of this they like. When we think about how to do that, often what we say is, okay, we need to get them to go to a computer and then tell us what thing they were looking at and then tell us what they thought of it, and that's very complicated. And what I love about what Jan David did, and you know, this is my artistic representation of that, is that he looked at it and he said, okay, what do people who are in the library already do? When they return a book, they have to put it somewhere. So how could we use that putting it somewhere to have them make an additional piece of information around it? And so I want to really encourage you, as you think about all these things, think about how to make it elegant and make it beautiful and make it connect to what your audience is already doing, so you're not making them take out a device or go to a computer or have another layer around this. Because fundamentally, social technology is not about people connecting with computers or with the web. It's about people connecting with each other.